moving on to the Global Forum Bill. Yes. I know that's not the proper name, but basically what you're seeing all over social media, memes, persons talking about the doubles man got to register or pay $10,000. You know, the red mango woman might have to pay $10,000. Are we taking it out of context? Is it every hairdresser, every maxi driver? How does it work? Break it down for us.
So we as leaders in our country, okay, whether you're in the political sphere, whether you are in the religious sphere, whatever, we have to understand that we must never take a position where you create chaos in a society, okay? So in the Global Forum Bill, so where you stick a bunch of legislation inside one bill that comes before Parliament. And I mean, on that bill, we had like 2 days to go through about 150 pages of legislation. One part of the amendment was to raise the fines for not registering a business. So let's look at the law. The law has always been that way, right? If you are engaged in a commercial trade, there is a requirement for you to register as a business for you to continue. That's the law. All the minister have done, he has raised the penalties and fines for that. So the law has always been there.
What was the previous fine?
I think $200. It was misdemeanor fines from the 1940s or 50s, somewhere around there, right? So he has modernized it. He has, bring it up to standard with regards to ticket and tint and whatever. But the point that I want to make is this whole chaos about, the tanty who's selling she vegetables in front of she house, or you have a little parlor selling chubby and sweet drink, that you will now face a penalty and fine of $10,000 or something. No, that's not the case. So what differentiates a commercial business from one of these snow cone man, the chili BB man? For an enterprise to be considered a commercial business, it must have some characteristics. So I want to tell you these characteristics. There must be a capital outlay, building, land, infrastructure, whatever. There must be an invested component. I would have put out $50,000, $100,000 as an investment in something. There must be a component of marketing. Am I advertising what I'm doing? Do I have a billboard? Do I have a banner in front of the place? The activity must be consistent. It must not be seasonal. It must be consistent. And the most important thing is, am I earning more than my tax credit for the year? So your tax credit for the year is about $90,000. In the eyes of the Board of Inland Revenue, if you are not generating $90,000 for the year, I have no interest in you, because that means you're not doing anything that generating that type of money. So the chili BB man will continue selling the chili BB. The snow cone man will continue selling the snow cone. And a lot of these other small seasonal type activities, because of the fact that the threshold of $90,000, that's the first thing you look at. The second thing, are you employing people outside of your home? If it's somebody selling roti from their house, right? And it's mom, dad, and one child in the house. 12 o'clock, they sell roti for a couple hours as a mean of income. Because there is no employment activity where you have to register somebody at the NIB board, there's no interest by the NIB. Okay? If there's no requirement for an insured or insurance in terms of what you're doing, then there is no interest from the state on that. So there's a lot of factors that will determine whether you really fall as a commercial activity with the characteristics that I've just explained, and that you'd require to register. And so there's a lot of panic, there's a lot of bad information outside there. But just remember, who makes the decision that you are operating something legal or illegally? We are not importing officers from Russia or the Ukraine or Europe. These are Trinidadians and Tobagonians who would have grown up with Snow Cone Man, Chili BB Man, the Doubles Man, and they understand the nature of that business. Now, if a fella come and he build a little place in front of the house, and he put 4 windows and he put up a sign with an air condition, and every Monday morning he in Panama bringing 10 suitcases. Well, then that's a red flag, because you see the nature has changed. So to the man on the street, the auditor, the field officer who is visiting, let's say, for instance, Mayaro, once for the month, he will observe that activity and he will determine, hey, look, this looks like a serious commercial activity. Perhaps we need you to do a registration. So let's go beyond that now. Why it is now, it is important for small businesses, those who qualify, to register. I'll tell you this, one of the biggest problems we had, or I saw during COVID, when the state issued those grants to help small businesses. Right now, remember, rural communities like Mayaro and Rio Claro are littered with small businesses, right? But one of the requirements was that you need to prove that you're a small business. Now, to prove that you're a small business, one, you have to have a financial history. The bank must be able to show a bank statement where you're depositing money, you're taking out money, show receipts, show a book, a ledger where you're buying stuff and you're selling stuff. And plenty of our small business people couldn't qualify because there was no records. The amount of fishermen who were doing this small trade came to me and said, look, you want to apply for the grant? I said, okay, you have a little book you just have where you just buy your gas, go out, show me before COVID how much business you was doing. You have anything? No. And in order to be able to get support from the state in times of crisis, the state must know you. And if you are registered as a business, well, then the state doesn't know you, and that's a problem already. Now, the second part, with the new international regulations concerning banking and finance, very, very soon, to do government service, you'd have to get tax clearance, VAT clearance, any kind of clearance, probably to apply for a visa to go just now. You'd have to have the bank giving you some kind of clearance. You must have a history in order to get certain things done. So, do you know, Marsha, as a businessman, if I have an account in the bank under Rushton Paray and I send $3,000 into that account, they're going to ask me, Paray, where you get that money from? Now, I cannot tell them that, look, I decided to sell 1 or 2 items in my wife's store and I want to put it together. They say, no, you have to deposit that cash in a commercial account. So, as the things evolve, it is going to get very complex and complicated in terms of being able to, satisfy a lot of global requirements. So I don't know if I answered the question that you asked, whether we're going to see a running down and a chasing down of small businessmen and things. No, it's not going to happen. There's one more point I want to make on that. There's a fallacy, and I hear it over and over, that all these small fellas who are registered, they suck in the country, right? That when the rest are we paying tax, they suck in the country and they're paying this and they're paying that, but they want service. Let me tell you, every single citizen's country pays tax. You see, VAT is not only a consumption tax, it's a service tax. Every single thing that you do in this country, you pay VAT. So what the state has done to capture that group of people in what we call the informal society, they pay their share, whatever little it is, through the VAT system. And therefore, there are very few citizens, well, unless you're a child, suckling milk for free, then I think every other citizen in this country puts a part of their revenue into the tax system at the end of the day. So I do not think there's going to be any mass registration of small businesses, very small businesses, people who are making a seasonal hustle. I don't think that is going to happen. That's not the intention as far as I'm aware.